Today is September the 14th, 2017. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University, and today I am at the Stillwater Public Library to speak with Raymond and Dorothy Shinault. And this is part of our African American project centered around Booker T. Washington School here in Stillwater. So thank you for coming today.
Stillwater High School,
Washington School, Booker T. Washington.
No.
There was no Booker T. in front of it?
No.
Well, okay then. We'll stand corrected all right
Washington
around.
High School.
Just Washington High School. So it was grades 8 through 12, or?
No, I was there from kindergarten till 8th grade.
Okay.
And then my 9th and 12th I was at Stillwater High School.
Okay. When
I graduated from Stillwater High School.
Okay.
And I graduated from Washington School.
Washington School. All right, let's back up then and start with Mr. Raymond. When were you born and where?
I was born in 1936, Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Stillwater, okay. And Dorothy?
I was born in 1942 in Stillwater.
So both natives of the city or town at that point. Okay, and then what did your parents do for a living, each one of you?
My parents, my mother used to work for different households and taking care of different women, old people and that.
Okay. And your father?
My father, I never met my father until I was 40 years old.
Okay. Better late than never, I guess, huh? And what about you?
My dad was a butcher. He worked for Looper out on 51 many years ago. And my mother was a housekeeper.
And were both sets of parents from Stillwater, or had they moved here from somewhere?
My dad was from Texas, and my mother was from Oklahoma.
Okay.
My mother was born in Alabama.
Oh, okay. A little ways from home then, wasn't she?
Yes.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have 5 brothers and three sisters.
And where are you in the order?
5, number 5.
Number 5. Okay. And Dorothy?
I have some stepsisters and brothers, 2 stepbrothers, 3 stepsisters, 1 brother, and I'm the oldest of all of them.
Okay, pretty big family. So growing up, did you two know each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've always, and where did you live here in Stillwater? The street you grew up on?
I lived on 10th Street, 11th Street, and 12th Street.
Oh, no, okay.
I lived on 12th Street.
12th Street. Okay, and growing up, were there boundaries where you were told not to go past?
Yes.
No,
Yeah, well, it was.
Where?
9th Street, but we couldn't go to we went to the movies, but we had to sit in the balcony. It was very prejudiced doing it. In certain cafes you couldn't eat. You had to go in the back to eat. Like, what's that, Skeens? Is that Skeens Cafe?
Keens, yeah.
Skeens Cafe on Main Street.
That would have been in the 50s and 60s?
Yeah, I guess.
Or around in there?
Mhm.
So it may have been girls can't go past a certain point, but boys can go wherever they
I
want.
guess they did. We weren't allowed to go too far.
Just for safety reasons, or?
Right.
And what would happen if you did at home?
Oh, we would hear about it. Certainly hear about it.
Well, who would do the discipline, your mother or your dad?
Both.
Both. And it would be your mother in your case, I guess.
My mother.
Okay. And where did you go to elementary school?
I went to Stillwater.
Stillwater?
Washington School, yeah.
Washington. It was from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Okay. So it's just called Washington School. There's no high in there, or
Yeah,
it's just
Washington High School.
Eugene Field was around at that time too. You didn't go there?
Eugene Fields.
Yeah.
I don't remember that name.
That's where the IGA used to be.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
You remember
okay.
that?
Long time.
Long time. So you both went to Washington School
Mhm.
from the kindergarten or first grade up
Yeah.
to. So you would have graduated from Stillwater High in what year?
1959.
1959. And you graduated from
Water School,
in
1956.
1956. Okay. That would have been a little bit after the war. Did you have anyone in your family in World War II?
Not that I know of.
Anyone?
I do.
And the schools were integrated in 1958-ish?
56.
56.
I got the last one to graduate in Water School.
Okay.
Because
Well,
I went to, after then I went to Stillwater High School, which was on Duck and Ninth. Stillwater High School.
and during that time period, was it a struggle to switch gears and switch over to the other school?
Yeah, I had a lot of problems.
Or they just
Mean. Yeah, mean.
mean?
Mm.
Do you want to give us any details of what they would do that was mean?
Oh, name calling, looking at you strange, snarling. It was pretty bad.
And how did you deal with it?
Just ignored it.
Were there any of your teachers from Washington School that went to that
No.
switched over?
Mm-mm.
No, none.
None.
Any reason? Any idea why?
I have no idea.
Not even the principal?
No.
Oh well. That's just- So you didn't have to deal with the transition. You were the last. Did they do anything special since you were the last class to graduate?
Not really. We just, we walked out of school a lot. Senior class did. Riding down the streets and screaming and hollering and going on.
Especially when they won a championship.
Basketball or football?
We won basketball and football all the same year.
Oh. And who would be some of the places you'd play? Opposing teams?
Wasn't that?
Who were your opposing teams? Who would you play against?
Oh,
Cushion was one.
Probably not Stillwater.
no.
No.
Then we played, Choctaw, Oklahoma City.
Cushion.
Yeah, Cushing, Stroud. That's so long ago. Broken Arrow.
Well, that's a long ways from here.
Yeah.
Wow, you had to travel a bit.
You did a lot of traveling.
On a bus, or was it
Bus,
a
school bus.
School bus? And it was usually against black teams?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play against any white teams? No?
We scrimmaged against the white team. We didn't play, we didn't really play them. We scrimmaged against them.
And did you beat them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, good. And what was the school mascot, or did they have one?
What?
The mascot?
Bear.
Do we have another? We don't
A
think we have-
bear.
Oh, a bear is a mascot.
The black bear?
Yeah.
I mean, the Smoky, like they have in the Smoky Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Pay attention, Tanya.
Mhm.
Tanya. And the colors were burgundy, maroon?
Maroon and silver.
Maroon and silver. Okay. And did you have a favorite teacher?
I did. Nora Clay,
And what did she teach?
English.
English. And why did you like her?
She's more like a teacher more than the rest of the teachers could be, because she wasn't strict like some of the teachers were. They were real strict, so, but she'd go along with you, and make sure you learn.
Okay. And did you have a favorite one?
Yeah, she was my favorite too.
And
And she taught home ec too, so I learned a lot in home ec. We did a lot of sewing, we made dresses and stuff. We made our dresses for our 8th grade graduation. All the girls did.
So she did classes.
Yeah, double duty.
Yeah, double. And she didn't switch over when they integrated?
No, I think she retired or something.
Well, did she live in Stillwater?
Mhm.
And she knew your parents or
Oh, yeah.
someone to tell if you didn't be
She
in your
lived here
class?
for a while, and then she moved to Guthrie.
Okay. And about how many people were in your class? Class size?
9 or 7.
7?
I think it was about 9. What is on that picture?
How many was it?
I don't know.
How many on there?
7.
Not a very big class.
Senior class down there.
So describe the school to me. Where would be the library and the cafeteria, that sort of thing? Walk me through the front door.
Auditorium as you come in on that side. Walk straight into the principal office, and the library was on the left side. Straight through that door, gym, where they play basketball. Then go out the door and around the corner, there was classrooms on both sides.
Is that the way you remember it?
And the cafeteria was in the back.
And would each class would there be like 6th and 7th together, or would it just be all one grade in one room? Did they combine classes?
One grade and one room.
One room. And you started 8 o'clock?
I don't know what time it started. 8:30? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was early.
8. They around 8.
Did they have a routine of what they did each morning? Like, would you say the Pledge of Allegiance, or say a prayer, or sing, or something like that?
We would sing, Allegiance to the flag and prayer. Or is that no? I think.
No, you can't do either of those, but yeah. And would they have programs like at Christmas time, or
Yeah.
things like that?
Yeah.
Choral, where you would sing?
We would have a lot of school plays. We had a lot of school plays. There was something they had every year was the operetta. It was a big, with costumes and everything.
And would you make those in the home ec?
Some of them.
Some of them. Well, how far would you have to walk from your house to school? How far was it? Probably not too far.
I walked 2 blocks.
2 blocks.
6 blocks.
6 blocks. And I'm assuming you walked. You didn't. That's too close to be on the bus to go to
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And did you play hooky much?
Big one?
Did you play hooky much?
Not too much.
I never did. I knew better.
You knew better.
Yeah.
And would you pack your lunch, or would you eat there?
Three.
I eat school all the time.
Did you?
They had really good lunches, like a full meal. Vegetables, meat, milk, dessert. And we had cooks at the school that cooked the meals there.
From scratch or close to it?
Breakfast and lunch.
Okay. And what was the favorite thing that they fixed? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. Probably fried chicken.
I remember rolls from my day, because it'd smell up the whole school when they were cooking. And you said English was your favorite, so you played sports, both football and basketball. With that small of a class, I guess you would have to do both. What about your coach?
Tom Watkins, he was a very good coach.
Did he do both sports?
Yeah.
He did both?
Mm-hmm.
And was he from Stillwater?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was he? And do you remember some of your class teammates?
Yeah, I know a few of them.
Stay in touch with any of them?
I see Charlie Atkins, John Reed, Junior Mack, Theodore Davidson, Charles Thomas, Fred Jones. Oh, I can remember all of them.
That's pretty good. Are they still around?
No, only one around now I'd like to see is John Reed and Marquita, John Reed, Kenneth Murray. That's about the only 3 I can see now. Most of us have passed away.
Okay. So once you finished high school, what did you do
I went into the Army.
with the Army?
Mm-hmm.
Drafted or volunteered?
volunteer.
Volunteered. And what part of the Army?
Army.
But the infantry
Infantry,
or
no.
infantry?
No, I wasn't artillery.
Artillery. And how long were you in?
2 years.
And then you came back to Stillwater?
Mhm.
And then what did you do?
Got married.
And what year would that have been?
59.
59. Did you get that right?
Yeah. Surprisingly, I got it
Surprise.
right.
And how did you ask the question? Or did you, I guess, I should say.
Oh, I can remember.
I don't mean to get you in trouble.
Oh, shoot. I just came out and asked her if she's married.
And did you get married here in Stillwater?
Yeah.
Here, at the church or at home or where?
Courthouse.
Courthouse.
Courthouse. Justice of the Peace.
Didn't believe in big weddings back in the day. To save the money. So the money, my parents said, no, we're not gonna do a wedding, we'll save the money, and then we can give you some land, then you can buy your house and put on it with the money you would have used for a wedding. So that's what we're done.
Well, did you have a special dress?
No, just
No.
put a dress on.
No.
No,
Just went to the courthouse and said I do and
that's it.
and started. And did you work along the way?
I worked with my mother for a while. Then I worked the student union and ONG as a home service maid. We would test recipes.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, we traveled everywhere to different schools, testing recipes. And it was a lot of fun.
So are you a good cook? Hey,
Pretty good.
I tried.
He says yes, so yes.
Yeah.
What's the favorite things she fixes? What do you like the best?
I like mashed potatoes and gravy and chicken.
Chicken. Fried chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, growing up, did you have real chickens?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, in the backyard.
Yeah, we had chicken in our yard.
We raised chickens.
And when it was time to butcher them, who would do that?
Yeah.
Your mother or you
No,
or
all the
who?
boys did that.
All the boys. How about at your house?
My dad.
Your dad
He
did
was
it?
a butcher. He didn't care. He would
Yeah.
chicken dying day was like scalding water and wringing necks and chickens jumping all over the yard. Terrible.
Yeah. You
Terrible.
can see that still?
I can still see
Still is.
that.
Mrs. Shinault, what was your family's name?
Brown.
And where was your dad a butcher?
Right here in Stillwater. Loopers?
Loopers? And was that a African American owned
No.
grocery?
Then he went to Oklahoma City. He butchered in Oklahoma City when they closed down here. Cause I went there and butchered with him.
And I forgot what company that was.
He would commute from here, go back and forth, or did
Yeah.
they move?
We drove back and forth every day.
So he taught you how to butcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a trick there.
Yeah.
It is a.
Mhm.
He was very good with a knife.
Didn't make you a vegetarian though, did it?
No.
You know?
So were there other owned businesses that were owned by African Americans in Stillwater at the time? Do you recall?
I had a cafe on 11th Street, Big Boy Brown. He had a cafe on the corner of Washington and 11th.
Big Boy Brown.
Big Boy Brown.
And what did they serve?
Well, you went there to dance and play music, and I forgot what they served.
Hamburgers and french fries?
Probably.
So where would the children go to if they wanted to have some fun? Was there a park or
That
something
was a
like that?
recreation building.
Yeah, we had recreation. We had a
and
recreation building.
Wasn't connected to the school, that was
No.
separate?
It was in the park. Very big building. They would have play school every summer. And they had a certain time to go and a certain time to leave. And they had different kind of games, and they would feed them before they went home. So it was the annual play school. They call it play school during the summer for the kids.
Both boys and girls went,
Mm-hmm.
and ages from,
2 on up, teenagers.
Well,
And
what-
which park was that in? The recreation center?
Washington Park.
One on 12th
One on
Street.
Cross Street.
The one that's Southern Woods now?
Southern Woods.
Yeah.
was it called that then? I don't know.
I don't know what it's called. We call it the park.
And did it ever flood? 'Cause it's
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
low through there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, did the school flood
Yes.
too?
Yeah.
You remember that?
We wasn't going to school when it flooded. I was, because we lived on 12th Street, and we had a house. We were close to the school, and our house flooded. So I was out of school when all that happened.
And back in the 60s, you were both still here in the 60s?
Mhm.
Then they were doing some protests, or did they do any of that sort of thing here in town?
And not for that.
Like the civil rights stuff?
We had a lot of marches,
Marches?
Martin Luther King's Day.
You remember when he was shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then JFK
Yes.
shortly around in there too, and then Malcolm X, I guess, was in that
Yeah.
same time period. Do you remember all of it?
I remember all that.
And did you feel safe at that time?
No.
No.
No, not at all.
You wouldn't go too many places just by yourself?
We went places together and with some friends. Back in that day, we had a lot of house parties. You know, it wasn't going to different clubs. And, each family would have a house party, and they bring all their kids, you know, and put them in the back room. We would eat and party.
Dance there too?
Mhm, yeah.
Was there a local band?
I
No,
don't
no,
remember
no band. We had no band.
Well, did the school have a marching band?
Yes.
And was it pretty good?
Yeah, pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Took us a half a year to make an S, but anyway.
Took a half a year to make an S.
Yeah.
For the upcoming homecoming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, we do.
Did you play an instrument or
Mm.
you
I played at cornet.
And you were playing football, so
I
you
played-
didn't do the
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
If you'd been, it might not have taken them as long to do it.
Maybe
No. Oh, gee.
Well, did most of your siblings stay in Stillwater when they were gotten old enough to marry and move out, or not?
Well, they stayed, well, they were little. We have 4 kids. One's in Tulsa, one's in Enid, and 2 of them are here.
Okay. So you got married in '59, and when did you have your first child?
2 years after.
3 years.
60. Well, yeah. 60.
You can fix it. So when they got up to school age, where did they go to elementary school?
Stillwater High.
Elementary,
Oh, Westwood?
Westwood, okay. And then on in, did they have any issues with,
No, they got
No.
all the time.
by that time it was
I don't think so.
better?
I had a lot of friends. You know, I had a lot of white friends come up to the house. So they didn't have no problems.
Well, when you were younger, did you visit other white kids,
No.
white children's homes? Not any? How about you?
Like what?
Did you visit any white children's homes?
No.
No? Just weren't allowed or weren't invited, or both? Both?
Yeah.
Just didn't mingle?
No.
Well, were you allowed to go to is it the crystal plunge, the swimming pool?
Oh, the swimming pool?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
probably not.
No.
No,
I never did. We went to the lake.
went to the lake. Which lake?
Lake Forest, Blackwell.
Okay.
Yeah, but we used to go.
And was church an important part of your home life and the community?
Yes.
Both? Which one did you go to?
Mount Zion Baptist.
Okay.
And I belong to, three. Church of God in Christ and the Methodist Church and Mount Zion Baptist.
And since you were married, did you settle on one?
Oh, that was before, I was young when all that was happening, but we both went to Mount Zion Baptist when our children were small.
And is that the one that moved? Mount Zion?
Several of them moved.
Yeah,
Out
it
the-
moved from, what street is that? 11th Street to Knobloch, when they built the new church.
Well, once the schools and the town started to integrate, was there any event that sticks out in your mind that helped mark that, or that you recall?
Juneteenth was a celebration.
Was there a celebration each year?
Yeah, but they cut that out. City of Stillwater cut that out. It was too much money or something, I don't know. Didn't have the funds.
What years would that, around when would it have ended?
It's been about 3 years ago, I think. Maybe 3 or 4.
So, when you were in the 60s and 70s and 80s, they had a Juneteenth celebration?
Yes.
Did you have strawberry soda pop?
Yes. And they always had it in the park.
At Southern
Woods.
Woods. And so what sort of things would you do there?
They had different games for kids and food, baseball, and entertainment.
What was the significance of strawberry pop? I haven't heard that.
I read
Meow.
a lot about it, but I'd have to go back and look again, but strawberry soda pop's a big part of it.
It was. It's very good. It don't taste the same now.
Well, just strawberry, it wouldn't be grape or orange knee high or anything, it was always strawberry. Maybe it's because of the color of the school.
I don't know.
There's something to do with New Orleans in some way. So you had mentioned a little bit back that you had felt unsafe. So were there incidents that happened around town that were racially motivated?
No, all the incidents was just happening, not in town, just around in the state. Not really here in Stillwater.
I see,
Just
so
other towns.
things that you had read
Heard.
about happening and such.
Right.
When you mentioned King's grocery store,
Oh, yeah.
or Skeets, you were
Uh,
talking earlier about a cafe. that was-
Schemes.
And then King's grocery store, but that was somewhere on Main Street, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, he was on Main Street. Very nice guy.
And you guys could go in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We even would have, he would give some of the people bills, they would go get their groceries and pay them at the end of the month. He was a very nice guy, him and his wife.
So Main Street had like 2 or 3 movie theaters back in
One that I know.
back in your.
No, we had-
One.
no, they had 2.
Did they?
You had
Aggie.
what's that big one that they had on Main Street? The big one.
Sin or something?
One used to have.
I don't remember the name of it, I remember Aggie.
But it wasn't on. The Mecca Theater. Now, the Mecca Theater was on, yeah, it was on Main Street. And I think it was the Aggie Theater. It was on Main Street too.
And if you wanted to go to the movie, you could.
Mm-hmm.
After the 60s or before the 60s, or,
You would have to sit in the balcony.
oh, if you could go, they just told you where to sit.
Yeah.
And then there was a movie theater where the Lazy Boy store is, a furniture store is.
Oh, yeah, I heard of
I don't know what the
that.
name of that one. I've heard Leachman before, but I'm not sure
Oh,
where that
Leachman
was.
Theater, that's what it was.
Is that, but
Yeah, got
I don't know where it was.
Leachman.
It was
And
on Main
Ag.
Street. You was on Main?
I said, but we didn't know the name.
Huh?
It's Leachman's. Leachman Theater. And Aggie.
Yeah,
Okay.
on Main.
Well, we know that. We just said that.
Thought you said where was that?
No.
Well, what else was on Main?
It
What
was-
else do you remember being on Main from when you were teenagers, let's say?
Dairy Kitchen.
That drugstore on Main, it's still there. It's still there. That old,
Central.
huh?
Central.
Central?
Central Drug, it's still there.
And my mother used to work for the owner, Mr. Fisher, worked in his home.
Well, close to that corner was Cooksey's. I mean, that's what there's a mural there that says Cooksey's. I don't know.
I don't know that.
It was a grocery type store too at some point.
So would you go into places like Central Drug?
Yeah.
And was there a soda fountain there?
No, they didn't
The
have
ice
soda.
cream, yeah.
Hmm?
Mr. Fisher had the ice cream thing and the soda
Oh,
thing
yeah.
where you could buy, different stuff.
And you,
Oh, and Woolsworth was on Main Street. Pasco was on Main Street. Katz department store. Leonard Jewelry. TGNY
On Main Street too.
on Main Street.
Where would you, like in the 50s and 60s, where would you go to get clothes?
My mother made most of my clothes, and yard sales. I think she handed that down to me because I love thrift shops and yard sales.
where would she get her fabric?
Stillwater Milling Company, they had the feast sacks. They were real pretty print. And me and some of my friends would go on Saturdays and get some feast sacks, go home and make skirts for the church the next day.
So you would do those out of the pattern cloth. Some of
Yeah.
those were really beautiful.
I know they were.
Yeah.
So we made the long skirts for church and starched out cans and hung them on the line so when you walk.
Starch.
I starch, a lot of starch.
I'm glad those days are over, aren't you, with starch?
I
Well, would you, guys were a little bit different. Where would you get your clothes?
Me,
Yeah.
well, since my father was here, my mother raised all 9 hers by herself. We got out more from garage sales.
Okay. And hand-me-downs, probably?
Right.
Yeah. And she maybe sewed your shirts?
It wasn't,
Would she make shirts?
oh yeah, she made shirts. That'd be, the most of the clothes we got came from garage sales, most of them.
What about shoes?
Same thing.
Same thing. Same for you too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were holidays like? Christmas and Thanksgiving? What was that like at your house?
Well, after being so long, and my mother had to work so hard, we never even think about it, like getting a Christmas present. We never thought about it. All we want to do, because all our boys, all the boys, were just 5 of us. We worked at picking cotton, chopping cotton, stuff like that. We give all the money to our mother so she could feed us and clothe us. That's the way it was back then, because I didn't have no father. My father had left my mother when I was 6 months old. He went to California and got married. My dad did.
And where would have been the cotton field where you worked?
Big pardon?
The cotton farms or fields?
Glencoe, Oklahoma.
That's right, yeah.
Mhm.
There was a really large, they even called it a plantation
Yeah,
there.
a lot of
Yeah.
places in Glencoe.
Mhm.
And how would you get there from here?
They'd come get you. They'd ride everybody in their truck. They would come with a truck. They'd pick you up and take you.
Huh.
Mhm.
So how many pounds of cotton a day would you pick?
Mhm.
I think about 300 pounds a day.
Wow, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, it's real good.
It'd be so hard on your fingers.
Oh, yeah, your finger be true up all the time. Fingernails and stuff, yeah.
So what year would that have been when you started there
You mean pin cotton bean?
in Glencoe?
In the 60s?
In the 60s there
Mhm.
was? So that was
No, it had
still
to be-
going
it
pretty
had to
strong.
be-
Huh?
It had to be before then, way before then, because Raymond Jr. was born in 60.
Oh, June 60.
No, he was born in 60. So it had to be in
Before you were in high school?
50s.
It'd been 40 to 50, yeah.
Yeah.
So you do it while you were also in school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you remember the fellow who owned the fields there?
Gates.
His name was
Gates, his last name was Gates.
And he was a pretty nice guy?
Yeah. Mhm.
And so were there like a lot of people who would go there to work on those fields,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And were there a lot of older gentlemen as well?
Not mostly the young kids, mostly.
Yeah, kids then.
How early would he come get you in the morning
Around 7 or 8 o'clock. It wasn't really early, it was around 7 or 8.
and bring you back?
Yeah, about 5 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. All through, and then when you weren't picking cotton, and the next season, would you do something different for them?
No, I did the same thing all the time. In fact, we picked cotton while we was going to school. Like on Saturdays. Yeah.
It's different times, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
And did you have a part-time job while you were growing up?
I had my mother, and my dad got the idea that I need to go pick some cotton so I know what real work was all about. So I got on them trucks on the weekends and went pick cotton too.
Also in Glencoe?
Yeah.
So besides having chickens at your house growing up, were there other critters?
Rabbits. My daddy owned greyhounds, and we would go out hunting for the rabbits.
Just
Got some running. He had some real pretty greyhound dogs, and we would go fishing.
within walking distance, or would you go out?
Oh no, we would go out in the country and hunt rabbits and fish.
And would you have to dress the rabbit, or would he?
He would.
And then your mother fried it?
Yep.
Yeah. How about you?
Mhm.
Same thing? Have a cow in town?
No.
No? I was just wondering.
No cow.
No cow.
Mm-mm.
Just chickens?
Dogs and
Turkeys?
chickens.
Turkeys?
No turkeys.
No turkeys. And there, I understand, was there a place where you would take to freeze it downtown? Like an ice plant
No,
that had lockers?
No, we had. My dad had a smokehouse in the backyard
Okay.
that he built. That he would, because he was a butcher, he would have hams and stuff hanging up in the wintertime. That was the freezer.
Those
Well, they
tasted
was-
pretty good.
Cured the hams, baked it and stuff.
Was he, I don't know, just with city regulations, was he allowed to sell some of the meat out of the house?
He never would sell it.
We had heard several different places within the community then, especially like barbecue.
Mhm.
You had some of the businesses revolving around businesses out of the home especially. Do you remember any of them?
You would not?
No, I don't remember any business.
Any
out of the home.
businesses that ran out of the home,
Oh.
Especially
No.
like barbecue?
had barbecue?
And I'd also heard there was a there was a small park around 15th Street, so just right out down the road
Oh.
here. Do you recall that park by any chance? And
Yeah.
is there any chance you remember a name for that park?
I have no idea.
But you remember?
I remember
recall
the
it?
part. It had a lot of pecan trees and maybe a few slides. It wasn't very big. They didn't have very much in it. But I don't remember the name of it. It runs into a dead end off of some street down there. I forgot what street it was. I think it was off of 12th Street. You kind of turn back and go clear, and it was a dead end, and there was the park.
Just a really sparse, small one.
Yeah.
But a larger one where Southern Woods is.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had 4 children?
Mm-hmm.
4 children. And they all graduated from Stillwater High.
Mhm.
Stillwater High. Some stayed put and some did.
Right.
Okay. Do they often ask what it was like when you were a child? What things were like here in Stillwater? Are they curious?
Oh, I told them that earlier.
You told them that?
Yeah. When they were in school, I told them how, things were when I went to school there. So, they know.
Well, when you were going to Washington School, got that right, were you allowed to wear pants? Would
Yes.
girls could wear pants?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't until the 7th grade, in the 70s, before I could.
Mm.
But you could early on, always. Mostly denim
Yeah, jeans.
jeans, and I guess guys mostly jeans too. Overalls or just
Yeah.
Overall, sir. We
overalls?
both.
And then you would get there about 8:30 and then go through the routine, and scout classes were let out about, what, 3:30 then?
Something like that, yeah.
What were some of the activities other than, say, sports that you would do after school?
Play school. They would go to the park, to the recreation building, to a certain time. Then you had to go home. That was about it.
And if, was it just your parents or your immediate family that could discipline you, or could other people in the community step in?
Everybody could.
Everybody was watching?
Mhm.
Yeah, everybody.
Were there some more kind of prominent people in the community or leaders that you really looked up to? Specific men or women who I guess maybe could have held leadership positions, or maybe just were the people that you kind of really admired?
Yes.
And do you remember the names of any of those people?
Mr. Ward, he was our principal. Raymond Lawson, Greg Lawson.
Captain Dawes.
No, she wasn't. Where she wasn't. Where she was in Stillwater. Mr. Manuel, he was the first black cop that we had, so I looked up to him. And I guess that was about it.
First black.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big deal when that happened.
pretty
wasn't
big.
it?
That was a big deal.
When was that? What, in the,
50s maybe.
wow.
I think I've got maybe one picture of him. We've been going through the city directories, cross-referencing where different families lived. And I see Shirley Shinault
My uncle.
listed.
That's my uncle.
Shirley was your uncle. And so, did you have other aunts and uncles who, last name Shinault, lived in Stillwater?
He wasn't Shinault, but they was still my aunt and uncle.
on your mom's side.
Yeah.
What was your mom's family name?
She's a brick, Westbrook.
Westbrook.
What? No, it wasn't. Brooks.
Brooks.
Brook wasn't it? Brooks, that's what it is,
Brooks.
Brooks.
I don't know that I've come across that name yet, but I'm sure we will.
Well, none of my wife, my mom was a family was here in Oklahoma. They all was back in Alabama, and we back in the South.
How did your mom, do you know how your mom came to be in Stillwater?
She married my father, and I think my father lived in Oklahoma, and that's why she lived in Oklahoma.
So they came here. And you had 4 other brothers?
Yeah,
And sisters?
I got 3 sisters.
And so what are your brothers' names and your sisters' names?
I got my oldest brother, Willie C. Next one is Bonnie, Charles, and Carl Jean.
Carl Jr.?
Jean
Oh, Carl Jean.
And Clarence.
and Clarence, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them.
And the sisters?
Marilita, Inez, Margie.
Margie. Great. And how about your brothers and sisters? You said you had step.
I had Helen Jean, Wanda, Shirley, Floyd, one we call Bubba, and Timmy.
Which is for what? What's Bubba for? I don't know.
That's my stepbrother, I don't know. Call him Bubba. I don't know.
And are your parents buried here in Stillwater?
No.
No.
My dad's he's 97, still living. And my mother's buried in Oklahoma City. So that's where they moved to, their home.
97, that's pretty good genes there.
I don't know.
So your dad lives in Oklahoma City right now?
Yeah.
And so what year did he come here to Stillwater? Do you happen to know?
Oh, I have no idea. In the 20s, 30s. I don't know. His name was Willie Brown.
And how long did he work as a butcher?
Oh, years.
Pa-
Or as I
Past
can remember.
65?
Oh, yeah.
And what about your mother? Where is she?
My mother passed away. My dad too.
Where are they buried?
My mother buried in Cushing. My dad was buried in
California.
California. Yeah.
Wow.
Your mother was buried in Stillwater.
Hmm?
Your mother was buried here in Stillwater. Your mother was buried here in Stillwater. Sunset.
Oh yes, that's right. Mom buried in Stillwater.
His memory is kind of short.
We knew that there was initially a segregated area in Fairlawn,
Yeah.
which kind of extended, right? Just
Right.
because you're buried by where your family members are, so it kind of
Right.
continued the segregation. Was that the same in Sunset? Do
No.
you have any idea?
No.
Everyone's
You
kind
can
of
get
in
where you
different
want to.
areas. Hadn't examined that cemetery
Yeah,
yet.
it's not like Furlong.
Where's Sunset?
Sunset's out toward Perkins, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
177.
Back then they came. They had people come by and ask and try to get the salmon for their work graveyard out there in Sunset. And I bought mine back in the 60s. So when I get buried now, I go up there, just go right there because it's already paid for. That's where all my family was. They all just paid theirs a certain amount each month. And
Yeah.
then when we go out there, it's already paid for.
Yeah, we didn't want to be buried at Furlong.
Do you mind me asking why?
There's stories going around that they're buried on top of each other. I've always heard that.
Yeah, because it's so small.
Yeah, it's just like
And I
they're
know
real
been here
close
up in Lower
together,
Lamb. I know
you
been real.
all
People
of-
still been buried in that same this clock there. I know it's got to be people buried on top of each other. It's got to be.
I hadn't heard that, for all the people or just for the segregated section?
Segregated.
Segregated? Yeah.
Just that section, that one section, what is that? The west side of Furlong. All the black people are buried on that side. There's been a lot of black people that has passed away since I was little. And so, something got to give. I just think they're buried on top of each other.
It gotta be. Because I've been, when I was a kid, they was on that same side.
And they still.
And now I'm 80 years old, and they're still burying people on that same side. I know good well they got to be up buried on top of each other. That's why I got mine out yonder, because when I said, not out there.
Well, there's some other small communities around like IXL and Progress and.
Yeah.
Progress, yeah.
Do you have anything, do you remember anything about those smaller towns?
Not really.
Progress.
And was it Progress? Was that African American settlement? Had you ever visited there, or was that way before your time?
No, I've been to the church there. They would have congregation events in Progress. That's the only time I've been.
When you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
And so, so what sort of, they had the church out there, they had a cemetery. Do you remember anything else they had out there? Were there
Homes.
like families living out there?
That's
So
about it.
that would have been like in the rural area.
Right.
So were kids who lived out there, did they come to school to Washington?
Some of them did, like the Mats. They out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a bus that had to go around and pick them up.
And what did you say the name was?
Mac.
Mac?
Max.
Artie Smith. He
Yeah.
lived in did he live in that area?
I
Or
don't know where Royce got
another
that.
rural area?
You know,
I don't remember. I know he lived out in the country, but I don't know.
Not necessarily the same area. In regard to school as well, it was my understanding, I know that you talked about the operetta, that there would be some larger school productions that the kids from the white schools and then kids from Washington would go to each other's schools to see some of their performances. Do you recall that ever happening? Or Sunday schools going to each other's Sunday schools sometimes?
No.
None of that, just
Not
no.
back in
Gotcha.
not back then. Now they do.
Well, and then we had someone that said that OSU used to play football off of 12th Street.
Really?
big pardon?
I never did know that.
That OSU played football off of 12th Street.
I never.
Where you all played football?
Oh.
You ever remember
do you remember that?
OSU coming to play?
That's all my time then.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Now, Coach Watkins, right?
Right?
So, I've heard a lot of people bring his name up, but, we don't really know what he was like. So, how would you describe him? What was he like?
He was a real nice guy. He was a real nice man.
Happy-go-lucky.
Yeah,
Happy-go-lucky.
That's
yeah,
what I
he
would
was.
call him. Yeah. He was always smiling and telling jokes and stuff.
He won Coach of the Year about 4 or 5 times.
For all of Stillwater?
Mm-hmm.
And so, how did he get you guys to work and stuff? Just by being nice, because you wanted,
You mean, for sports to be?
for the sports,
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
Well, he was a tough coach.
Tough coach, but
Tough,
nice,
nice man.
but nice man.
Yeah, he's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Real nice guy.
But he was tough.
Yeah.
And so how many times did you all win, I guess, championships then, when you were playing?
Before my time, when my brother was playing, they won championship, but I don't know how many times though.
Well, when you were playing,
When
did
I
you
played,
win
we
any?
won 3 times.
3 different championship times.
Football, basketball?
Football and basketball. We won the state championship, football and basketball, my last year in school.
Oh, one of both.
Both of them.
For the
And were there cheerleaders?
Yeah.
We never hear about cheerleaders yet.
Well,
What'd you
They tried
say?
to help.
we were the cheerleaders up in the bleachers.
Up in the bleachers.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
nice.
We never cheerleaders. The students were the cheerleaders.
And the whole community come out to watch?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Big deal.
Mhm.
And what were those, Friday nights or Saturday nights?
Friday.
Friday.
nights.
Friday nights.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, do you remember any cheers?
No. And they would have a, what do you call it? A little get together after the basketball games. I can't remember what they called it.
Afterwards?
Yeah. Where they play music and dance.
In the gymnasium or
Mhm. In the gym.
still at the school?
So would they also have dances through the year, like formal dances?
Junior sing prom.
So did you go to your junior, senior prom?
I wasn't there at the school.
That's right, because you'd gone to.
I had gone to Stillwater High School.
Then that's actually interesting. Did you go to the Stillwater High School prom?
No.
Were you invited, or was it just kind of known that you
No, I didn't want to go.
weren't supposed to go?
Well, didn't want to go.
Didn't want to go?
No. I had enough of the school
Yeah.
year. Didn't want to go.
How about you? Did you go to prom
Yeah.
at Washington? Who was your date? That's a good
Don't
answer.
remember. Don't remember.
I'm trying to think.
Was it Helen?
Huh?
Was it Helen? We don't
I
know.
don't know what it is. I can't remember.
And did they play records, or they didn't have a band, you
No,
said?
you put no band. No.
Played
Yeah,
records?
right.
And so what were some of the songs?
Oh, Lord.
Anything stand out?
Not really. See what it
Jane Brown.
I was thinking Chuck Berry, but that might be, he may have been later too.
Chili
is. Old
Checkers.
people.
Chili
They all
Checkers,
did- they all did
Twist.
for that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, on your first day, going to Stillwater High School, you were nervous?
Yes.
Do you remember what you wore?
Jeans and a top.
And
Jeans and a top.
how did you get there?
Walked.
You walked from here
Because-
to the, because it was just up at 9,
Mhm.
And I lived on 12th Street.
so it was just a few blocks.
Yeah.
So did you walk with any of the other students?
Yes.
Who did you go with?
Let's see. Some of my classmates. Edna, Betty. What else?
So were all the girls were nervous?
We were.
So you got to the building, and did anything happen? Was
No.
there anyone to welcome you, or
Some of the teachers.
teachers there to welcome you?
Yeah.
And were the teachers nice to you?
Yeah, they were.
Good, nice. How were the students at the school?
Some of them were all right, and some of them wasn't. I think my second day I got in a fight. Yeah. So, and we both were sent to the office.
And both had to leave for the day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And was it with a girl?
A girl.
A girl. And had she called you names,
She
or?
called me the N-word. And I pushed her downstairs when I started shooting. Luckily she didn't fall too far, didn't hurt herself.
But she got sent home as well, though?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how long until you kind of started feeling like it was your school?
I never did.
Never did feel that way? Did you ever ask to get to to like stay home or go back to Washington because you didn't like to go to the Stillwater High School, or
No.
just had to stick it out?
Let's see, one semester I went to Lima. It's over there by Wewoka. My grandparents lived there. So I went one semester in Wewoka. Then my parents said I need to come back home. So I spent one semester in Wewoka.
So what were the major differences between like Washington School and the Stillwater High School, besides the age difference, you know? Were there things that were very different that you noticed?
Not really. They were just the people, the kids.
Not like different types of, like, did they have like better books or a better library or whatever the case was? Or was everything funded, seemed to be funded pretty
Everything's
similarly? And what about the library over at Washington? You mentioned in the Washington school there was a library. Was there like a dedicated librarian?
Yes.
Do you happen to remember her name?
I don't remember her name.
I haven't heard anyone yet mention her. And was she there all the time that you were there, the same
Yes.
librarian? And is that all she did was work in the library, or did she also have to teach other classes?
You know, I really don't know, 'cause I can't remember who she was.
And did you go to the city library ever, or did kids just go to the Washington library?
We went to the city library.
And the one when it was on 6th Street?
Right.
And did you feel welcome there?
There was a guy. Y'all have a plaque out there with his name on it.
Richard?
Richard.
Was he there then?
Yes.
And so he was awfully nice then?
Very nice. I've been knowing him for a long time.
Yes, was
Very nice.
a long-time fixture in the library.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And so you also took your kids to that library?
Yeah.
Well, at the library at Washington School, would parents use it as well? Do you remember, or was it just for children? Just for them?
All the parents was busy working.
Where would adults would get their books then? All from the city library then?
City library.
Yeah. And do you remember like story times at the city library, or like summer programs or anything like that?
No.
And do you happen to remember, we've heard several times about an African American Chamber of Commerce. Does that ring a bell?
Did we have one?
Yes.
We did.
Well, that's what I've heard from a couple sources now. I'm
Oh.
trying to track that information down.
I don't know.
A few things that we're having a little, for example, like why was it called Washington School? And when you said that about Booker T, that's what we're really roiling with right now is why was it called Washington? And a lot of people are split as to whether it was Booker T. Washington or just Washington. Some people think it was George Carver.
Oh.
So there are a lot of different theories right now. And that's what we're trying to track down. But
Okay.
no idea for sure, right?
No.
The mystery goes on.
Would your father know? Is he still mentally sound where he would?
He would
He
know.
might know. He wouldn't.
Nah.
I mean, that's the oldest one.
No, he wouldn't know, but it's
No.
no. So he always thought it Washington High School, so I doubt if he knows.
Well, he would have been around when they built it, I guess,
Probably.
at least. And why they picked that spot? Do you know why they picked?
No, our first reference we find to it is that teacher is listed in the 1910 city directory as working at the Washington School.
Mm.
And she's designated as colored. So
Oh, okay.
that's the first reference we can locate so far.
So would they have like church picnics and that sort of thing too in the community?
Church picnics.
Church picnics like after church on Sundays or
No.
something like that?
No. Most time if we had a special event, like an annual day, they would have dinner after the services was over in the church. They still do that.
Okay. And they have revivals?
Revivals, they have revivals.
From the church, emanating from the churches here or from people coming in outside of Stillwater?
Churches here.
The churches here would have revivals.
Mm-hmm.
So we know about Mount Zion, and we know that Church of God in Christ in Lawson Temple.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the third church? And I think you said that you attended some, the Methodist church.
Methodist.
Do you recall what came of that church or whatever happened?
No, I don't. It was on 10th Street. Big brick building, real nice church. My parents and I didn't go there very long. I don't know what happened to it. Most of the teachers and people like that were members.
So members, people occupied at the school were members there. And can you recall at all the preacher's name or anyone else associated with?
I didn't go there.
My principal went there. Mr. Ward and his wife and his kids went to the Methodist church.
Floyd? Is it Floyd?
No, I said, the principal of Washington High School.
Lee Ward?
Lee Ward.
Leroy?
He went to the Methodist church.
Is it still standing? No, it's not there.
No, it was a real nice building. I don't know what happened to it.
And no real idea about when it was torn down or anything?
No.
No.
Was it an AME?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, when they integrated the schools, did some of the teachers just move out of town then? Since they didn't get to
I believe
move to
so.
the Stillwater?
I've had Miss Tanya, she moved to Guthrie. I think she continued teaching in Guthrie for a while. Now the rest of them, I don't know. Mr. Watkins moved to California. Yeah, he moved to California.
So if members of the church moved away, then it may have just slipped away.
So. Well, what would you say is the biggest change just in the general society of how people are treated, racial issues from that time when you were at Washington to nowadays, if
Yeah.
any?
Big change. With some people, there's always going to be those few people that the same way. It's been a big change, I think.
For the better?
The better. At least you can go to restaurants and eat. Back then you couldn't.
The community itself is not as tight-knit as it once was.
Right.
Probably one of the negatives
Right.
of that,
Right.
I would imagine.
You mentioned that you could go into restaurants and that when you were growing up, you couldn't.
Right.
Were there things like separate water fountains?
I don't remember. I've seen that on TV.
Right.
But I don't remember that being in
I remember that.
Stillwater.
Don't remember that?
So there weren't like separate restrooms when you started going to the high school?
No,
Everything was just fully integrated?
right.
That's the first time I've had the opportunity to ask someone that, so that's a good information to have.
Everyone went to the same restroom. I think that was mostly in the southern states.
I wondered if the courthouse was like that here.
No.
But if you went to the Justice of the Peace, you might
Yeah.
know that if it was
Yeah.
different ones there.
And that Skis, that restaurant, I had also heard you had to go around the back
Mhm.
and you could get the food to take out.
Right.
And then that there was a woman who, maybe it was from Oklahoma City, who brought some people down to Skis and had a sit-in.
He was in that bunch.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to tell me about
That's
this.
where that did what now?
At Skis at the restaurant, the sit-ins.
Sitting. You remember you and John
Oh, yeah, that's me and John Reed.
and some more people?
Yeah, we went to Skeens, and they turned it out. And we decided to stay there, and they called the police. The police came down and escorted us out there, because they couldn't escort us out there, because we wondered why we couldn't eat. They were arrested. I'm sure our money just as green as theirs. So that's how we had to get out.
So how long did the whole thing last, would you say?
Oh, about 15 minutes.
Not too long?
No.
And then they made you get out?
Yeah.
But you sat down at the counter to
Yeah.
eat?
Mm-hmm.
And did anyone serve you at all?
No.
Wouldn't serve you?
No.
So it was you, John Reed,
Yeah.
and who
Just us,
else?
the two.
Just the two of you? And so was the whole community talking about that?
Yeah.
It was on the front page of the news press. I remember that.
Mhm.
That is any idea at all about the year?
Mhm.
Probably 56 before y'all went to the army.
That's 56.
Probably before they went to the army. I think they
That's
were
our
getting ready to
senior-
go to the army. I think it was
That's
1956.
our senior year,
Yeah.
56.
Your senior year? Do you happen to remember what time of year it was?
What do you mean time of year?
What day?
Summer,
Summer,
winter,
You're there sometime.
summertime.
Mhm.
Okay, that'll help me.
We're gonna go back to the archives.
We are.
Or were you talking about Clara Looper being the one that would come and start that?
I
From
think
Oklahoma
so,
City?
maybe.
There wasn't someone from Oklahoma City that came and encouraged you to do that?
Nope.
No, you just decided to?
We just had, me and John decided to try it.
And how long would you have to stay in the police station?
We just stayed, they did let out at the eating place there.
Just
That's
made
why
you
they
leave
called them down
there.
there.
Didn't take you to the police
Yeah.
station.
Just made you leave?
Mhm.
And you would have been not 18 yet, so would they have to call your parents?
They bought it.
Did they have to call your parents?
No.
No.
Didn't call it there.
Well, nowadays they would if you're under
I know.
18, yeah. Anything else?
I don't think I do.
I mean, is there anything else you think that we need to have down for the record that people need to know?
That in 50 years, you would want people, we've started this because I can't answer people's questions
Uh-huh.
because none of it's in the history books.
Uh-huh.
So in 50 years, you have someone coming along asking questions about the community.
Mhm.
Is there anything that Tanya didn't ask that you think people would really want to know?
Mhm.
No, not that I know of. Not covered at all.
And so the boundary would have been like Duck Street to how far?
6th Street.
6th. And then on the other corner, how far west?
I don't know, but.
Like Jefferson or
I would say,
Western or even that, probably not as far as Western.
Ramsey.
No.
Wait a minute, yeah, Ramsey and Hester,
Hester.
maybe not Rock.
Okay.
Okay.
And then 10th Street, dividing line at 10th Street.
No, there was a lot of blacks that lived on 10th Street.
Yeah.
9th Street.
Be 9th Street.
Going north.
Yeah, going north.
But today, it's all mixed, right,
Right.
currently? At least, seems to be all
Students.
fairly
Yeah,
well
it is.
mixed.
There's not a black community anymore, put it that way.
And to think that was because there was the school was integrate or stopped at that point. I mean, was the school the center of the community?
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
what was holding the community together,
Mhm.
as opposed to the
Or you
churches.
just couldn't move in the rest of the town. I don't know if it was holding it together or not, but it was just the
I
times,
see.
you know, you couldn't move in other communities.
Wouldn't sell
They would
houses.
sell houses, no.
Or a combination of things, not
Mhm.
just.
Not just that.
Well, would you all go to like Guthrie or Langston or Bowley, places
Yeah.
like that?
Mhm,
For
yeah. All the time.
Bowley, they had dance places there.
And rodeos.
Rodeos too.
Rodeo.
Black
Rodeo.
rodeos, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did you say black rodeos?
Mhm.
Mhm, yeah.
And so were there a lot of, I guess, cowboy fellas
Oh,
here
yeah.
in Stillwater?
No.
No,
not from
we
Stillwater.
had none here.
We had
Most of my time.
one that moved from Texas. His name was Joe Prater. He was a cowboy. I didn't thought it was anyway. He was from Texas, so. And he rode in rodeos.
Well, in the 40s and 50s, if you would take a trip, would you do anything special to be safer? Like you were traveling different places? Didn't have to worry about
I
that?
don't even think we ever thought about that.
Okay. And you were served, if you stopped for dinner or something like that, you didn't have any trouble other places?
You would go to yeah, you would have problems. You would go to a drive-through, like a hamburger place to eat,
Drive-through?
because they would serve you, you know, that way.
It's hard.
So you've asked several times how everyone felt when President Obama was elected.
Oh, no.
Is this going to be a different answer than we've heard?
Like I say,
I was glad when he was elected. I mean, that was the first black president.
you,
I was.
A house divided.
it
Yeah,
was,
you don't like Obama?
uh,
You don't like Obama?
he's all right.
Oh, okay.
You better than the one we got now. You better than the one we
I
got
don't even
now.
wanna talk
I
about
put it
the
that
one we
way.
got now.
You better than Trump.
I don't have anything to say about Trump. I just can't talk about Trump. I don't have the words to describe him, so.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Not Trump, I don't.
Every
It's
day
gonna
is
get
something.
interesting, isn't it?
Every day is something new. You've done something.
Well, if you can't think of anything else, I usually ask people to tell me how they want to be remembered. When history is written about you, what do you want it to say? How do you want to be remembered?
I want to remember nice Christian person. Yes.
And how about you, Raymond?
To me, I guess it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter. Seriously, you're not gonna. Can you elaborate?
I guess not.
So you're both retired.
Yeah.
What are you doing these days?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
3 years ago, I was doing home care, but I stopped
Yeah.
that too.
Not raising chickens in your backyard.
No.
No.
You could get in trouble if you did it now.
I know, you get fined or whatever.
But if you get a whole chicken at the grocery store, are you in charge of cutting it up?
No.
No.
No?
I am.
Being the butcher that
Mm.
you are, you could
Mm.
zip, zip, zip.
Yep.
Yeah, well, let her do it.
Yeah, Dad taught me how to do that.
They don't do a pulley bone anymore though, or the
No.
pulley bone piece.
That's right.
I haven't seen one of those in years.
I haven't either.
A long time. And do you still sew?
No,
No. Did your mother quilt?
no.
Didn't do that?
She just made clothes.
Save any of the feet sack dresses?
No, I wish I had
Uh-huh.
We mostly had skirts.
Skirts.
A lot of skirts. So every other weekend we'd go get a sack and go home and make a skirt.
How many would you have to get the same color, the same fabric? How many
Oh,
sacks
they
would it
had
take?
a bunch, it was just bunches and bunches.
But to make one skirt, how many sacks
maybe
would
two.
it take?
Maybe 2 sacks. 'Cause they were real, real long and wide. 2 sacks.
Well, could you get just the sacks, or did you have to get what was in them?
No, you buy just
About-
sacks. They
you
had
did.
them all separate.
Oh, okay.
But not the feed in it.
I wonder,
You
yeah,
didn't have
okay.
to buy the feed, you would buy the sacks.
I've always thought you had to buy the feed to
Oh,
get the
no.
sack.
Uh-uh.
Did you know that?
You know, I don't know that I thought about that.
They would have the sacks, emptied, washed, and on display,
Okay.
and you could pick out your favorite.
And then
the
if
pattern
you,
you wanted,
if you wanted the feed, you'd get it put into the sack?
I guess, if you wanted. I don't know. I wouldn't.
I just assumed they were
feed.
stacked up and you had to pick which ones you wanted. No? Well, learned something today.
You know, I had asked, we'd talked about that because I had wanted to know where people got their clothes. What about shoes then? How about that?
Raw sales.
Ross?
No,
Garage
Raw.
sales.
We didn't have a Ross.
Garage sales. No, I thought there was another one. So
No.
garage sales there.
Or, Woolsworth would sell shoes too. cheaper.
Okay, that makes sense,
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe sometimes TG&Y, they would sell shoes, tennis shoes and stuff like that,
Where was TG&Y downtown?
on Main Street.
On whereabouts on that?
All those on that side of the street.
That's okay.
Let's see.
Was Woodworth on the same side?
On the same side. And on Tasco.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah. That's kind of Oklahoma. We had one too.
Really?
Well, Stillwater has changed quite a bit.
No, yes.
It
Quite a
has.
bit.
Quite a bit.
Anything you miss that's gone now?
No.
No. No. And someone had said there was used to be a dairy downtown. Was
Your Derek,
just a dairy that,
oh, a dairy.
a dairy.
Don't remember that one.
Mm.
I know they had one out on 12th Street, out by Couch Park, that we used to go out there and buy milk,
So
gallons of milk.
It'd make more sense to be out of town. That's what I
Well,
was-
it's on 12th Street, clear out past not the fairgrounds, Couch Park. Maybe a little ways up from Couch Park, there was a dairy. And we would go out there and buy gallons of milk and skim the cream off the top of it and make butter. And I forgot the people that owned that.
Make homemade ice cream.
My mother would.
Yeah, on ice cream.
Yeah.
Homemade ice cream. All right. Anything else, Stacy? You're in charge.
No, but I got a lot of, first time I've heard several things, so very valuable.
Okay. So if you think of anything else, you can put it in the transcript when you
okay.
get it. If you remember, oh, I wish I had said that,
Oh, okay.
please add it. So
I will.
thank you for coming today.
And thank you.
All right.